There's one question that determines your financial future more than any other. And it's not the question that we're taught to ask. Unfortunately, it's not the question that makes the viral headlines and videos, but it is the question that has to come first for those answers to matter. And I know this is the case because a millionaire taught it to me. Well, a multi-millionaire, like hundreds of millions millionaire. If you're new to the channel, my name is Lili, and over the last couple of years, I've been documenting my journey to financial freedom and bringing you guys along with me. And so I'm really excited to bring the vlogs back and keep that journey going. I've built a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. 2 of those properties we need to actually go visit today in just a moment, and also a 6-figure online business. And during that time, not only have I shared a lot of content, I also consume a lot of content. So I ask a lot of questions, I get a lot of questions, and the most important one is not, should I make an ebook or an online course? Should I do group coaching or one-on-one coaching? It's none of those things. The first and most important question that this millionaire taught me to ask is, what are you optimizing for? He said that we're all optimizing for something, whether it's the ability to sleep in on weekends, the ability to pick up our kids, the ability to watch Netflix in the evenings, the ability to turn off our phone and ignore work at 5 p.m., the ability to fly first class or private. Whatever it is, even if we're not being intentional about it, our actions and efforts are optimizing us for some end result. And if we don't know what that end result is that we want, then any of the other things that we talk about and strategize to do are not going to take us anywhere. And the only reason I got to have a conversation with him was because I was coaching his son in basketball, and somebody else told me that he was a multi-millionaire. They knew I was getting into my financial freedom journey, and so they kind of nudged me to go talk to him. And I asked him if I can buy him lunch, and he said, better yet, just come to my home office. You can hang out with the kids. I coached his son, played a little basketball in the driveway of a nice mansion. And then we spent about an hour going through these 3 steps that I'm going to share in this video, the first of which was answering this question. And when we were done, he was supposed to drop me back off, at my place. And he said, Lili, I'm really sorry, but is it okay if I get you an Uber home? Because if I take you there and drive back, I won't be back by 4 p.m. And I've optimized my life to stop everything I'm doing at 4 p.m. and play with my kids. And I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. And as I was in the Uber ride home, I was just thinking, like, that's what I want. I want to be able to decide what it is that I want, how I want to live, how I want to be able to show up and have my business fit around that versus my business or my job deciding how I get to live. And that's when I decided that I want to optimize for location freedom, time freedom, and financial freedom. I want to be able to work from wherever I am, and I want to limit the amount of time I spend working while still making, enough to live financially free by having a small but mighty team that kind of executes for my clients, and then also having passive income, which is why I invest in real estate and why I make content. These are all things that bring in passive income. So tell me, what are you optimizing for? Leave it in the comments. I'm optimizing for blank. And when you do, I'll send you a free gift that will help you execute on this 3-step process. It's a calculator that I built. Link in bio. It'll help you determine all the answers to the questions that we're going to talk about today. And this vlog is not me living my financially free life today because I messed up. One, I hired a new team member, but I haven't really integrated her well enough with my existing team and laid out like the system and the just step-by-step process that team needs in order for me to step out of the business. And so I have to fix that. So we're having a team meeting to kind of get the ball rolling. And I flubbed on my Airbnb cleaner scheduling. And so I was just checking. I have to find a cleaner by this afternoon for one of my units, or I have to clean it myself. So how's that for Guru? But yeah, I'm glad you're here. Let's get this day started. Okay, cool. Sasha, can you hear us? Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Lili.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Yay. I'm so excited. While I'm going to present some stuff and share some stuff, you guys are also going to help to craft out how you can best help us get to that end goal in your role, right? Because you're the one in there doing it every single day. And you may say like, oh, Lili said do A, B, C, but you're like, actually XYZ works better, right? And so I want you to like understand what the end goal is so you can then tell me if we need to make adjustments.
So anyway, what we did is we're a similar story to one of my other clients. We ended up with 235 paying $49 a month. Okay, Lili.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you. My question is, should your ascending transaction model, should the first 2 products appeal to the mass market and then the other 2 are more affluent and premium? Or should everything appeal to kind of the top of that market?
Yes, great question. I love that question.
Okay, good news. I know this is probably horrible lighting. Okay, so I will tell you about those workshops and things that I was just on, which was super cool. But first, I found an Airbnb cleaner for this afternoon. So I'm about to run over there and meet her. But I didn't have time to like create a checklist for her. So I'm gonna use the checklist that I had for my previous cleaner and I'm gonna text it to her. But first I wanna get over there and let her in and give her the clean laundry. So let's go. All right, so half of my rental properties are on Airbnb and the other half are long-term rentals. If you follow me on like TikTok or Instagram or anything, you'll see a bunch of my short form content is around how the Airbnbs go. And so far, it's going really well. And one of the reasons I think that is because I am in a good market for it. It's legal in my town. You just have to get a license, which costs like $300 a year. And I think the reason I've been able to like make my Airbnbs successful, then like outside of just like the market forces, what we try to do to stand apart is realize that Airbnb is not a real estate business. Yes, it's a business where if you own the underlying real estate, great, that's an asset that you own, but the business is hospitality. And for us, that means one, cleanliness. Like we want to have super duper 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 clean Airbnbs. And then two, like just a really good experience. So we want things to be comfortable. We want things to be nice and peaceful. And just as advertised, we leave snacks and drinks and all of that stuff for our guests when they arrive. And so far we've gotten pretty much all 5-star reviews. We've got 1 4-star review and we're super host status and all that good stuff. But with those high like expectations and wanting to get those high results, we have gone through a couple of cleaners. And whenever I post about that, you know, people will say, just do it yourself then, right? Like if it's not done to your standard, or if no one can do it to your standard, just do it yourself. And I think this is a mindset that comes from not asking that question or not answering that question of what are you optimizing for? Because I am not optimizing to clean my Airbnbs myself. That's not my definition of a financially free life. Now, will I? Yes, because I am still in the stages of building up to that. And I want to make sure it's done correctly. And if it's not, I will come in and fix it. But I will then also move on to someone else or try to train up my current person to help get there and like reach that standard, because my financially free life includes time freedom and location freedom. I don't want to have to be in town and clear my schedule in order to clean a property. So that's why we're working on this. But I'm not perfect at it yet, which is why I'm meeting with this cleaner right now to get her to do it, because I didn't schedule our other cleaner correctly and they're not available. So let's go get her set up. Hello, how are you? I'm good, I'm Lili. Thanks for meeting me on such short notice.
Yeah, no problem.
How are you? Nice to meet you. Let me get this open for you. I'm filming for YouTube, by the way, but I can like blur you out and everything, so you don't have to worry. So I'm gonna go to the car and get you like the clean linens and everything, and then we can talk about it if you have any questions. Thank you. In here are the toilet tissue, paper towels, and we leave out waters and snacks. So there's waters to put in the fridge, and then you can just put the snacks on that, like on the countertop.
Yeah.
And then in here is sheets, blankets, and towels.
Okay. So you want towels put up in the bathroom?
Yep.
Okay.
There's a shelf above the toilet where you can put the towels.
Okay.
And then I have a broom for you, and I have this sticky roller. So like after you sweep, this is good to go over just for the hair, and then it just peels off. I don't have my mop with me, but I'm gonna come back to get the dirty linens in about an hour, so I can just mop then. You can just leave the dirty linens.
1:15.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, any questions for me?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, just give me a shout if you need anything, and like I said, I'll be back to pick up the clean linens, so you can just leave them in a pile. I'll take those out, I'll mop, and then we'll be good. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good one. Okay, so she has what she needs, and like I said, I'm gonna come back and mop because I don't have the mop for her. My other cleaner has my other mop. So yeah, at some point, you still have to do things in your own business because like, that's just how things get done. But hopefully we're working towards like that goal of optimization. I also forgot her checkbook, or her check. So I need to run home and get her check so that she can leave and be paid when she's done. So figuring out what you're optimizing for was the first thing that this millionaire and I talked about. So be sure to comment what you're optimizing for below, use the word optimizing, and we'll send you the link to that free calculator, which is gonna help you with the second step, which is to figure out how much that life is gonna cost. And when we did this activity in his home office, he asked me like, how much do you want to make? And I said $25 million a year. And I was like, I feel crazy, right? Like saying that much money. And he asked me why. And legitimately, I was like, because of that Drake song, 25 sitting on 25 mil, like where he said that. And so I don't know why, but ever since like I heard that song when I was like a teenager, I thought, yeah, hell yeah, that sounds good. I'd like to be 25 sitting on 25 mil. So that was my goal. And then he said, okay, let's talk about how you want to live. Like, how many rooms do you want in your house? What type of car do you want to drive? Like, how often do you want to travel? How do you want to travel? And we just like got really granular about what did the life I was trying to optimize for actually look like. And then once we had what it looked like, we talked about how much it cost. And like, he actually had me Google and look up how much did all the things that I want cost on a monthly basis. And we put the numbers on a monthly basis because he told me to never think about finances, income, expenses, anything on a yearly basis again, but to think about it on a monthly basis so that you can make changes quickly and see your progress. If you think about it on a yearly basis, you only turn the ship, once a year. So once we did that, it did not add up to $25 million per year. I didn't need that much money to to live the life of my dreams. I needed like $250K a month, which is not 25 million per year. And it wasn't to like cut my dreams short. It was just that I was pulling that number, 25 mil, literally from a rap song. And I had no idea how to get there. When I came up with a concrete number of what I actually wanted, that's when I could like form a plan to actually get me there. And so that was the second step, was figuring out how much does your financially free life cost. And again, that's what the calculator is going to help you do once you comment below. Okay, I'll be right back. If you're new to the channel, I want to show you guys like what this property looks like. So this is the garage apartment, and that's the back of the front house. I won't go over there because there's a tenant, don't want to bother them, but you can see that the backyards face each other. And we renovated both of these. So this is the studio apartment, it's on Airbnb. The front is on as a long-term rental. And I like that because one, it's easier, at least in my market, to keep long-term rentals that are smaller occupied. It's like more people traveling solo or traveling, just as a couple. And two, it's super nice to have like the dependable income from the long-term rental in the front, and then like it's more volatile, but it goes higher on the back. So let's see, the person that's checking in today, they're checking in 2.5 hours. So this person is staying for 23 nights and they're paying $162.56. Actually, that's what we make. That's not what they're paying. They're paying $2,053. We're making $1,624. Jeez. Okay, so the way that breaks down is they have the nightly rate, they have a cleaning fee, which is $125. So that will be paid to the cleaner with a little bit set aside for supplies, for cleaning supplies. The guest service fee is what the guest pays to Airbnb, because it's free to look up a property on Airbnb. You pay when you book. You pay the platform when you book, and then occupancy taxes go to the city. And then on our side, we get the nightly rate, we get the cleaning fee. We have a nightly rate adjustment here because they're staying for so long, so they got a discount. And then we also pay a service fee to Airbnb because it's free to list our property, but we pay when somebody books. So that's 3% or $50 in this case. So making $1,600 on this unit for 23 nights, this unit used to rent for $750 per month. So you can see the difference in income potential when you have a short-term rental, but you could also get zero, right? Like if nobody books, then you could get zero. And so we haven't had that. Luckily, we've been staying pretty occupied, which is why it's important for me to keep our 5-star ratings so that we can continue keeping bookings, because Airbnb will drop your listing in search results if you start getting bad reviews. So now I'm gonna take y'all to another one of our properties. This is where my mop is. It usually stays in this house, but nobody's there right now. We have a guest checking in a couple of days. And so I'm just gonna grab it until I can get things with our cleaners and all of that a little bit more organized. Like I said, I'm just trying to keep it real with y'all, not pretend like everything is perfect and I sit around all day and don't do anything. I am still trying to get to like that ideal financially free life. That's the point of this channel, is to document what it takes. And today it took waking up earlier than I wanted. It's gonna take mopping the floors at one of my Airbnbs, which is fine. And the other piece is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, which is I'm calling like a value loop. I'm gonna teach it more in depth in another video, but the idea being like whenever you're offering a product or a service to someone, even like an Airbnb, a place to stay, or whatever your business might offer, it's because people in some way are seeing a value that you have that they want to receive. And so they're willing to trade their assets, which is their time, money, energy, attention, and money. I said money twice. Time, money, energy, and attention, right? Even if you're giving something free, this video is a free value, hopefully, if you're watching, and you're trading your time, your energy, your attention to watch it. Now, if you want to like work with me further and trade your money, it needs to be even more valuable. And one of the things I've been thinking about recently is this value loop, and the idea that whatever we're selling, we are, the phone's getting hot. All right, I'm just struggling to vlog today. My phone is overheating, so we're gonna have this conversation when we get into the AC. We made it. This is one of our top performing Airbnbs. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I have so much stuff in my pockets. And when I first walked in, I was kind of like confused because it looks so nice in here. I was like, I thought there was a guest in here yesterday, and I was like, did the guest even show up? But they just left it really, really nice. So I'm just moving this stuff out of the way because this is what they left. And whenever I come to a property, as you'll see like on my short form content, after like when the guest leaves, when I come here, I get just footage of how they left it to share with you guys what we made, what they paid versus what we made. And also just to document, like if there's any damage, then you have to have that documented for Airbnb. So whoever comes to the property to clean, or myself, like if I'm dropping off linens, will get a video. So let's see how they left it. One of the great things about having Airbnbs is I had some family come into town recently, and so they stayed here and we bought all this stuff for the baby, and now we just left it. So it's nice that like my family, I didn't have to put them up in a hotel. We didn't all have to squeeze in to one house. I just blocked off some time at the Airbnb, and now we have stuff for the babies, which I think is just a nice little touch whenever somebody comes. Looks like they didn't use those towels. Don't worry, we'll still wash them, just in case. And we usually leave sodas and waters in the fridge, so it looks like they took advantage of those. Left behind a little bit of milk and nothing in the freezer. Yeah, looks great. A little bit of trash, Coke. Okay, so as I get this mop, the reason I was talking about this value loop is because I've started to realize that the reluctance or like the internal discomfort that we have a lot of times with selling or with raising our prices comes from the fact that like we don't truly believe that what we're offering is valuable enough for someone to trade a good amount of their assets, time, money, energy, attention for. So we have like this internal reluctance, and that is communicated, you know, even if it's just like subconsciously to our clients and our prospects. But when we invest in ourselves, then we've made that trade-off. And so we are okay with expecting someone else to also do the same. And because we've invested in ourselves, we know that we've made ourselves more valuable and what we have to offer more valuable. And so I think this is actually one of my superpowers, is like I spend time and money on like learning. I take online courses, online workshops. Earlier today, I took one with one of my favorite authors. I just finished reading Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley. I think I'm saying his last name correctly, but when you read somebody's book, you don't necessarily know how to pronounce their name. But anyway, he wrote Oversubscribed. Really, really great book. And he had a workshop today. It was an hour and a half. I went to it, super, super valuable. Got to ask a question, which was pretty cool. And I think the process of investing in myself, right? Being willing to trade my assets for someone else's value means that I am also okay with asking my clients and customers to do the same, because I know that what I'm offering them is valuable because I've invested in growing that value. So if you're feeling uncomfortable with that idea of charging more, selling, feeling like what you have to offer is valuable, you may need to like also make that exchange for yourself before you ask someone else to make it with you. So yeah, that workshop was super cool. It was also really cool because, like I said, Daniel Priestley was the one putting on the workshop, but if you've heard of Myron Golden, who's also like a multi-millionaire, just like Daniel, he was also on the workshop learning. So that was pretty cool. It made me feel like I was in the right room and like learning the right stuff, because those are really successful people. Okay, what are we doing next? Let's get this mop over to the other house so that I can mop and so that I can get that ready for that guest, check and see how the cleaner did. But I need some Fabuloso or something for the floors. Let me find that. There we are. All right, this one is ready for our typical cleaner to come through and get taken care of. Let me make sure this door is locked. Although there's no guest checking in here, I think for a day or two. Okay, it is 2 o'clock. Check-in is at 3, and I do not want to be here when the guest gets here. So I got an hour or less to get this place mopped up. It looks like she did a great job. Previous guest left a sweet potato, so I'm gonna take that out of here. Let me close the door so bugs don't come in. But yeah, it looks really good. So let me just get the mop. Where did she leave the dirty linens? Okay, dirty linens are right here, and we'll get out of here. Got the dirties. I'm gonna leave this extra pillowcase just in case they want it, and I didn't. I got it. I hate it when I get the bug. I know I tried, but so she left the sodas and drinks down here, but obviously like this was short notice and I didn't tell her, you know, exactly what to do with everything. And so of course I don't expect her to like read my mind. I'm just gonna try to fix it a little. Also, look at this. The last guest left a bunch of stuff in the fridge. I feel kind of bad because eggs are expensive. These are organic. Is there a date on them? What would you guys do? Would you just leave the eggs? I kind of want to leave them. I don't eat a ton of eggs. I'm just gonna tell the guest like, hey, previous guest left these. I'll throw these out. They're cracked. Also, why the heck is there a feather? That's really weirding me out. If you know why, please tell me in the comments. I'm gonna throw out the cheese and those eggs and leave the waters. Oh, chicken. We're gonna throw this out as well because I'm weird about chicken. I don't be trusting other people's chicken. Okay, gonna put these snacks over here by the welcome sign and get this bad boy mopped up. I guess while I'm doing this, I can tell you what the last step is in that kind of optimization formula that I learned. Okay, so we started out with the end goal in mind, knowing what it is that we're optimizing for. Then we went to figuring out how much that ideal, optimized, financially free life is really gonna cost so that we have like a clear destination that we're working towards, and adding value to ourselves so that we can have more value to offer. Right? So like trading our assets to make ourselves more valuable. And then the final step was to work backwards from how many sales you need of a certain price product in order to afford that lifestyle, right? And like, that's a bit of an oversimplification because you're probably gonna have, as you get more sophisticated in your business, you're gonna have multiple products at multiple different price points. But the idea is that you know how much you need to make in order to live that life you wanna live. And you don't set yourself up for failure by selling a $5 product, knowing you wanna make $500,000 per month, and you don't already have a large audience, right? That would be setting yourself up for failure. Then as a bonus, you figure out how much are you currently spending, how much does your current life cost, and you work like crazy to make as much as you can to reach that financially free number, but you don't start living like that automatically. So it's like, you want the house, car, and vacations, but you don't start, you know, the moment you make enough for the car, you get the car. The moment you make enough to take the vacation, you take the vacation. Instead, what you do is you maintain your current level of living. And I think this might be why some people call me a fake guru, because I don't have like the fancy car and the crazy house yet. Because what I'm trying to do is, instead of buying all of that stuff as soon as I can afford it, and I can afford some of it, I'm trying to keep my current level of living the same so that I can reinvest in my business to actually get to that place of living my financially free life in all the ways quicker, right? So the money that I could spend on a crazy vacation, and I take vacations, I'm not trying to be extreme, like I'm trying to be reasonable in all the things, but I'm saying in general, I don't want to have lifestyle creep that stops me from like going even further. I want to reinvest in my business faster so I can reach that ideal financial freedom number faster and live like my actual ideal life quicker. That's the goal. If you stuck with me this long, you are a real one. I am a bit tired, but we are done. The place is ready for the guest. I'm gonna let the floors dry while I pack up. And like I said, if you tell me below what you're optimizing your life for, I would love to help you on that journey. I'll send you the free financial freedom calculator that will help you figure out how much does that ideal life cost, and then how much do you have to charge in your business in order to know exactly how many sales you need per month to get there. Hopefully this was helpful. If you like the vlogs and you want to see more of them, let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, YouTube thinks you will love this video right here.